Hey guys, Big P here. So I actually had the opportunity to try out Zankou in the early access server for Neverness to Everness, and this is gonna be my character guide and everything that you guys need to know from my personal experience playing her over the past couple of days, right? So we're going through a character kit, awakening priorities, key mechanics, as well as some investments for team building composition. Without further ado, let's just jump straight into today's content. So for a quick character summary, Zankou is a form switching incantation damage dealer who revolves around two combat states, reality as well as illusion form. Her redirect attack changes the form, while her attacks and ultimate interact with DOT effects, Scorch and Hex cycles, break, follow-up attack damage, as well as her own unique buffs. Her overall game plan is to pretty much build and spread DOTs, rotate between reality and illusion, and generate kindling through Scorch and Hex participation, converting those resources into powerful Infernal Flamenco and Blood Feast Reverie damage. So for the core gameplay loop for Zankou, during her reality form, you want to use Wildfire and related reality attacks, where the Hunt will increase Zankou's personal damage. And then once you switch into illusion form, you can use Sanguine Dash to transition into the illusion and apply Heart Wrench. And then during this illusion form, using Nightmare Welts, Moonfall, and Soul Cross, you can use it to spread DOTs and deal follow-up attack damage. And then afterwards, you want to build your Kindling to participate in Scorch or Hex cycles via team swaps as well as support skills. And then for your Blood Feast Reverie, you can use your second ultimate stage when available, where you apply Vow Ash and enables an enhanced Infernal Flamenco. And last but not least, the Infernal Flamenco is going to be where you will consume your accumulated Kindling for a massive damage boost. So TLDR, you want to build up your DOTs, stack up your stacks, and then let go of a massive ultimate nuke at the end of the rotation. For the basic attack, it's just pretty much going to be either a 4 or 5 cycle stage, don't have to worry about it by that much, and then jumping straight into the redirect skills as well as form switching. Sanguine Dash will change your Zankou from reality to illusion after the required sequence. So you want to use Sanguine Dash, go into reality, go into illusion. Then after Wildfire, Flickering Shadow, or Critical Repulse, she can continue into Sanguine Dash, applying Heart Wrench as well as greatly reducing enemy break. On the other hand, Soul Cross will allow you to change your illusion back into reality. You can use this to unlock an enhanced version before illusion form ends, which is where your enhanced Soul Cross will deal massive AoE damage, applying Heart Wrench, triggering Oblivion, as well as activating Blood Feast Reverie. This Soul Cross damage would also count as a follow-up attack damage. The entire illusion form will also end if Soul Cross or Blood Feast Reverie is successfully cast, its duration expires, or if Zankou leaves the battlefield. If the transition is interrupted before completion, then a form switch is going to be prevented. For the ultimate, she does have two different states with Infernal Flamenco as well as Blood Feast Reverie. So for your Blood Feast Reverie, it is going to be a large AoE that counts the follow-up attack and apply our Vow Ash, and the Infernal Flamenco is going to be where your big nuke is going to be coming from, where you'll consume your accumulated Kindling to amplify its overall damage. Then for a couple of turns related to Zankou, you can just kind of see over here, Hunt is going to be increasing your damage, Delusion is going to be increasing the crit damage done by DOT, Heart Wrench is going to be an incantation DOT, Vow Ash is also another incantation DOT, and Kindling is going to be when Zankou participates in Scorch or Hedge, which is consumed by Infernal Flamenco to deal additional damage. Now regarding the key mechanics as well as team synergy, Silent Sunset is going to be your Scorch enhancement, where Scorch can stack up to 3 times, and when your allies apply a DOT to a target with Scorch, Zankou can add another Scorch stack, which will replace the existing Scorch damage, type, and duration with the newly added effect. So this Scorch created by Silent Sunset cannot trigger the effect again, so you can't stack this on infinitely. Crimson Revelry is gonna be where you can set Zankou's cycle energy to 100 when you enter into combat. It has a 30-second cooldown, triggers once, and it will increase the cycle intensity by 100 while she's on the team, which will make your overall rotations a lot smoother. And generally speaking, why DOT teams is going to be Zankou's best slot is because Zankou will strongly reward teams that can consistently maintain DOT damage output and participate in both Scorch and Hex cycles. Her illusion form will spread out existing DOT, and Delusion will improve your team's DOT crit damage, and later on if you want to go for additional investments, her Awakenings can greatly increase her burst and break contribution. Now moving on to Zankou's Awakenings, they are generally built around her illusion state as well as the DOT applying gameplay, where she will be going through with the redirect skill back into the basic and then back into the redirect skill all over again. So the priority is going to be leading towards whichever boosts her ultimate damage, since ultimate is going to be majority of where Zankou's personal damage will be coming from. With that being said, A5 is going to be the best awakening by far, because the enhanced redirect skill Sanguine Dash can then put the opponent into the broken state on the very first hit. Now, though this only works once in a single battle, it will still buff our entire team's break damage, so it's gonna be pairing exceptionally well with someone like Daffodil. Now, she's gonna be already landing this as part of a normal gameplay because you're always gonna be breaking the enemy target at every single rotation. This is essentially free damage, which is also gonna be one of the highest damage increase. Then moving on into A2 Abyssal Kiss, it will allow her to build Kindling through Scorch or Hex cycle for a stronger ultimate usage, and it will then set up the synergy that allows our A4 to be a lot smoother. So if you do want to see big numbers from the ultimate, then this is going to be the best choice for you. Now A1 is going to be the very general all-in-one awakening, where it will allow her basic attack as well as redirect skill spread her DOT, while allowing Hunt and Delusion to be active at all times, increasing the Hunt's damage to 40% and the crit damage bonus to 50%. So because of this A1, it will basically have you almost a 100% uptime on both the Hunt buff as well as the DOT crit damage buff. Generally still a very good quality of life increase. Now moving on to A4, this will then allow us to activate her Blood Feast Rivalry immediately as long as she has her ultimate energy, on top of allowing the Kindling bonus for A2 to apply Blood Feast, meaning her ultimate will hit even harder. On top of all that, she will also shorten the rotation time a little bit, stacking on both DOTs at the same time, which is a very strong pickup, but I would say this is not going to be as significant as compared to A2 as well as A1, because you still want to be focusing more so on the damage uptime for the buffs as well as the actual ultimate damage from the A2. Then for A6, it will increase the damage percentage of Oblivion's final hit based on our DOT stacks, which is gonna be extremely well if you can stack on DOT against a single target boss DPS. Usually this value for A6 will only go up based on the number of DOT stacks you actually have, so you kinda just wanna run this with another unit like for example Lacrimosa, which is gonna be giving you a lot more value for any DOT damage. So if Zankou is just gonna be your main DPS without any other sources of DOT, then A6 is not gonna be having as much value. Then for the very last Awakening Kiss and Nightmare, it is pretty much just going to be giving us some interruption resistance as well as some smoother quality of life when it comes to beating the targets in general endgame content. So in summary for Awakening Investment Guide, if you can only go for a single dupe, A1 is gonna be our biggest and best upgrade for Zankou, becoming much more consistent as a DOT focused character. If you're going for two dupes, A1 plus A2 is gonna be the best stopping point for most players, prioritizing Zankou's personal damage. And then for the third dupe, you can opt for either A4 or A6, with A4 improving your ultimate damage rotation and A6 improving your damage on a DOT, particularly against single target boss targets. For all other Awakenings, you can kind of just go back in and see if A5, A6 or A4, lastly into A3. Now moving on to the arcs for Zankou, the number 1 arc is definitely gonna be a signature with 570 attack and 24% crit rate. This is gonna be an absolutely massive crit rate increase with an additional 9% crit damage while dealing incantation damage, stacking up to 7 times for a whopping 63% crit damage. So for our main DPS at Zankou, which is heavily focused on incantation damage, this signature arc is definitely gonna be a best in slot by far. If you do not want to go for the signature arc, you're pretty much going to be left with Contemplative Cat, which is the same arc used by our previous unit Cheese. You're not going to be able to make use of the Cosmos damage at all, but it is purely just for the main stat of attack as well as crit damage. And then one last potential is pretty much going to be Watch or Hate. This is very situational because it could work quite well with Zankou's redirect, but it will require a Remora or Stain unit and Lakshana to reach its full potential, making it much less flexible than other options. So in summary for the arcs, you are definitely going to be going for Everness Blade, followed by Contemplative Cat, and finally Watch or Hate. And then last but not least is going to be Zankou's team as well as overall rotation. Like I mentioned just now, DOT team is going to be Zankou's best in slot, but it's not really the complete DOT team as of this current moment. The best DOT team for now will most likely be with Linko coming out in the future. For now, Eroi is going to be the second best character to replace Linko if you're not going to be planning to pull for Linko and you already have Eroi on the current patch. So assuming your Zankou over here in this team with Zankou, Lacrimosa, Sakri as well as Eroi is going to be having the Esper cycle charge up in the entire rotation, it will look something like this. You'll activate your Zankou skill into Lacrimosa to activate your Esper cycle and proc Scorch reaction. You will then use Lacrimosa's burst as skill into Eroi's burst and skill, or skill and burst if Eroi does not have enough imaginary. Otherwise, you're gonna have to let Eroi stay on field for a while and do a little bit of basic attack just to fill up her imaginary stacks. Following which, you're gonna be swapping into Zakiri's burst and skill, then swap back into Zankou's skill, and you'll keep on normal attacking until it shows up with something like this. So once you got these icons lined up, press your burst into Zankou skill again to activate into this little icon. Then you press your burst and press Zankou skill into a couple of basic attack, and you can press a skill like this when the button lights up over here. If the Zankou burst, however, looks like this on the first rotation, Zankou will have a different combination where you'll go for the Zankou burst into skill into basic attack until it looks like this again. You can then press this skill and fill up the Esper cycle until it's gonna be better full stacks, and you'll do the full rotation properly this time. So TLDR, as of this very moment for DOT teams, the leg of Lingo is gonna be pretty annoying because she has an instant cycle exactly like Zero or MC, which means you can switch from Lingo to Sakui and activate the Hex reaction on every single rotation with 100% uptime. So I would say for DOT mains, you definitely should want to consider adding Lingo into your Zankou team. Then alternatives for DOT, if you do not have Eroy, nor do you want to pull Lingo, you can consider units like Daffodil, Baitzang, or Adler just to get a little bit more survivability or enable your Scorch reaction. For Daffodil, it's going to be a little bit more break as well as some Discord team composition. Speaking of Daffodil, in my opinion, this is going to be Zankou's current second best installed team, which is going to be Discord, using Hanyo, Daffodil, as well as Sakui. So assuming Zankou has an Esper cycle charged up in every single rotation, Zankou's skill will swap into Daffodil to activate Esper cycle and proc your Scorch reaction. Then Hanyo activate burst into skill, and finally Sakui burst into skill, and you'll swap back into Zankou for the same combination as DOT. If you do not have any of these characters, you can consider Fadia or Adler. And then if you do want to have, for example, a brand new free-to-play player and you just started with Zankou, this is going to be a free-to-play team to consider using Daffodil, Mint, as well as Adler. So the rotation on the combo is going to be very similar to the Daffodil team. It is just a Mint is just going to be there to activate a burst in the skill for a little bit more of a reaction. With that, we've come to the end of our quick little Zankou character guide and everything you guys need to know to kind of master her when she releases on the live server on day 1. Generally, if you are going to be a DOT main and you already pull for Lacrimosa and you intend to pull for the upcoming unit Linko, then I think Zankou is going to be an absolutely exceptional unit to go for in NTE. Other than that, I'll be looking forward to a story upcoming in the next patch because she is technically our first ever playable villain. So let me know what you guys think your thoughts and comments down below. Word of the day is going to be big. Join Twitch, join Discord, use code POKE to 10% off gamer subs. All the best, our gacha pools. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.